I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya. Murder suspects make appearances in a Flagler County court Tuesday, Rich Petchke reports.
A total of 3 suspects appeared in separate cases, but each was represented by the same public defender. Michael Cummings of Palm Coast was originally accused of second-degree murder in his wife's death in January, but last month a grand jury indicted him for first-degree murder. Joseph Colon is accused of selling heroin laced with fentanyl to a Palm Coast woman that resulted in her death last November. And Nathaniel Schimmel was charged in the stabbing death of his mother last August at her Palm Coast home. All 3 are due back in court August 14th. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Rich Petchke.
This portion of WNZF Local News, a service of the Daytona Beach International Airport. Fly to the Big Apple in a New York minute on JetBlue from the Daytona Beach International Airport.
Facing life in prison, a Palm Coast man will instead likely spend the next 6 to 9 months in a psychiatric hospital. John Arking explains.
Facing life in prison, a Palm Coast man will instead likely spend the next 6 to 9 months in a psychiatric hospital. 32-year-old George Wood was headed for trial on an armed burglary charge, where if found guilty, he would have faced a mandatory life term due to more than a dozen past felony convictions. But on Monday, Wood's defense learned that a court-ordered psychological exam found him incompetent to stand trial. A pretrial hearing is set today before Circuit Judge Terrence Perkins. If he ratifies the order, it would send Wood to a state psychiatric hospital and place into question Wood's 2 previous convictions. Wood was found guilty in January by a Flagler County jury of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The month before, another jury found him guilty of 4 charges, including escape. The armed robbery charge stemmed from the break-in of a gun store in October during Hurricane Matthew. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arking.
A Palm Coast man is dead in an apparent suicide. Tyrone Hartley was found dead by deputies conducting a welfare check Monday at the request of a friend in Michigan. That friend said he'd received a letter that he said was a suicide note entitled 5 Reasons Why I'm Done, in a disturbing nod to the Netflix show 13 Reasons Why. Hartley's death by apparent suicide adds to a growing number of suicides in Flagler County over the last few years. Rates across the U.S. are up as well by 30% since 1999. Florida specifically saw a spike by nearly 11%, and Flagler Cares, a local organization that tracks suicides in Flagler County, says it's seriously concerned. If you need help, call the 24/7 Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-274-TALK. More than 80 students from 5 Flagler County schools competed in the Future Problem Solvers International Conference, facing off against students from 9 other countries. School board member Andy Dance highlighted 2 local teams' projects.
Community problem-solving teams that came home with trophies. One was from Flagler Palm Coast High School, which was the Lead Children project, and they were working with families in need to give them resources to help their children in the early learning years from the first 5 years. And the middle school team that came home with a community problem-solving trophy was Determined to Diminish Delinquency was the name of their project.
Students from Flagler Palm Coast High School, Indian Trails, and Buddy Taylor Middle Schools, as well as Rimfire and Bunnell Elementary Schools, all squared off in the competition in Wisconsin. And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.